All right, so onto our percussion instruments. Starting off with the piano.
My dad took me to this jazz club, and that's the last place I wanted to be. But then I see this guy, and he's playing these chords with force on it. And then with a minor, whoa, whoa, whoa. Then he has the inner voices, and it's like he's singing. And I swear the next thing I know, it's like he floats off the stage. That guy was lost in the music. He was in it, and he took the rest of us with him. And I wanted to learn how to talk like that. That's when I knew.
Now, super important. Most people think the piano is a stringed instrument because there's strings inside. It is not a stringed instrument. It's a percussion instrument because it's being hit with mallets inside the pianos, like hammers with cushioning at the end, okay? So make sure you don't get that wrong. No? Piano is a percussion instrument. Let's hear another one by a super famous pianist, Lang Lang. So right there you can see the piano has a lot of different timbres. It's dark, it's soft, it's bright. You can get from a dark side to a bright side. You can make it soft, you can make it loud. Has a huge dynamic range, meaning you can adjust the volume quite a bit. Now the next one we have is a harpsichord. Now this, even though this is the percussion section, it is not a percussion instrument. Even though I'm showing you this in the percussion section, it is not a percussion instrument. It's actually a stringed instrument. And even though it's played like a piano, it is not our percussion instrument like the piano. It has strings inside it, but this time it's plucked on it like a guitar, as if there's a plectrum plucking on it, okay? So our harpsichord is not a percussion instrument, it's a stringed instrument. All right, and that right there is the harpsichord. Very buzzy instrument, but this was like the piano. It's not piano, but it was like the piano of the Baroque era. It came before the pianoforte, and it was really iconic for Baroque music. So if you ever hear a harpsichord, there is a 99% chance it was made. You're listening to Baroque music, okay? So, but don't forget, a harpsichord is not a percussion instrument. Let's hear another one. The major rumbling sounds of percussion. We have the timpani. Very thunderous, rumbling, and deep. Next one, we have the xylophone. All right, right there, the xylophone. It is made of wood. The glockenspiel is made out of metal. But then we have the bigger version of the xylophone, the marimba. There's the marimba. So the xylophone had a bit more of a hard, piercing sound. The marimba is a bit more mellow, a bit warmer. The marimba also has a wider range. It's much larger than the xylophone, but it sounds a bit similar, but it's still a little bit different. All right, if it was the glockenspiel made out of metal, it would be more hard and piercing. All right, let's go to the cymbals. Let's take it to a bit more of the classic sound of the cymbals. All right, right there we have a classic cymbal crash. Let's go to the snare drum. All right, so the cymbals had a bit more of a clangy sound, metallic sound. The snare drum sounds a little softer in terms of its sound, not as clangy in comparison to the cymbal. On to the next one, we have the mini gong, which is called a tam-tam, but it's still a gong. Okay.
Large, soft mallet, like this one.
And right there, that's the tam-tam, also known as the gong, mini gong. But now let's see the big boy. This is a real gong. Now that is a true rumble sound coming from a real gong right there. Then we have one that's lesser talked about. We have the chimes. Heard those all the time. If you ever go to Europe, you'll hear this coming out from the churches. Let's see another example. All right, right there. Those are the chimes, or the tubular bells, if you want to call them. And that right there, those are our 4 families of instruments, all right? Make sure you're really accustomed to how they sound so you can be able to differentiate them by listening to them, by listening to the different timbres, which will tell you which instrument you're listening to.